Well, after debriefing from our previous game, I thought we did some outstanding things. The one thing that stands out to me as a coach is analytically, um, our defensive effort was there. We didn't allow the offensive end to impact the defensive end, and I thought that was the glaring point that stood out in our analytics specifically. Leading into this next game, definitely an opportunity. Another road game, road contest. Definitely going to be challenging, as all games in the SEC is. But Georgia's coming off a tough loss, so we have to be able to offset emotionally how they feel about that by protecting their home court. So definitely a tough game for us, and one that we look forward to playing.
Questions?
Dennis, going on the road after a big win, just how do you keep emotions intact after all of that transpired in overtime?
Well, every win is a big win, whether it's at the beginning of the season or not. And I thought our guys have done a tremendous job throughout the year of balancing that out, never getting too high, never getting too low, but being able to respond and playing a brand of basketball that we think could give us a chance to win games. And that's ultimately what we have to focus on. Especially during this time of year, if you look throughout the country, games are becoming more and more close. If you just look in the SEC alone, last night's games were very close games, and that's the part of the season that we're in, where teams are trying to write whatever they need to write, and obviously playing beyond what stats and playing with the level of passion where they just want the outcomes.
Dennis, along those same lines of keeping emotions in check, you mentioned after the last game that was something you had to learn yourself during your career. So what was that process like? And is there a difference, like when you were an assistant to Leonard versus once you got your own program and the way you have to kind of do that day to day?
That's a great question, but you got to understand, I got a great memory too. So the context of that is me as a player, completely different than me as a coach. I learned those things early on in my life where I had the ability to impact the outcome of games. So you playing with a different passion as it relates to coaching. That outcome is not in my hands, it's in our performance of our players. So my job is to get them in the best possible mindset to perform at their very best by challenging, by rewarding, by affirming, and those things. So the big picture is, I, as a coach, yes, we continue to evolve each and every year. I think the coaches that I've been able to learn from every step of the way, whether I was an assistant at, Northern Illinois, assistant at Nevada, assistant at Florida State, I've always stepped outside my office and went into our entire athletic department and throughout campus to learn what leadership looks like and what it could be, no matter the sport. I respected coaches. And that has allowed me to do those things. Last stop before I became a head coach, I used to go watch the all-time leading college baseball wins leader, and that's Mike Martin Sr., who started his career as a basketball coach at the junior college level. But, from him to women's softball, Lonnie Alameda, Kurt Kevorkian, women's soccer, Sue Summerall, women's basketball, so on and so forth, Bobby Bowden, Jimbo Fish, I was able to see teams prepare for national championships and win national championships. So I've evolved and will continue to evolve as a coach and get better. But Leonard Hamilton has taught me a lot.
Dennis, who on your current roster would you say embodies that the best, showcases those characteristics the most?
Which characteristics are you referring to?
The ones you were just talking about yourself as you are coming up as a player.
We have several guys that I think will one day be coaches, whether it's high school, junior college, Division I, or Division II, Division III, or pro. I think we have guys that embodies that leadership style, and I can go to all of our captains. They've earned that right for a reason, but also specifically Nick Honor, who's the son of a coach. Sean East has a very high basketball IQ. Kobe Brown, you look at Ben Sternberg, Trago Million, and all those guys, they do a tremendous job of embodying and carrying over the scouting reports. And also I see them teaching and talking and communicating in a way that I think is great for our environment as young people. We get on them about living their lives on social media and different things like that, but they do a great job of communicating with each other behind the scenes and making sure that everyone is painted with different brushes so that they can continue to grow.
Dennis, is Isaiah back with you guys, and do you expect him to be available down the stretch?
Isaiah has never left our team, so I just give him his privacy at this moment, and I ask you guys to do the same. I appreciate you asking that question, though. See, you guys have to do your job. I have no problem with you asking those questions.
Dennis, as you see your team winning these close games, these games that are going down to the final possession, how do you see this better preparing for coming down the stretch of the regular season, getting into the postseason?
Well, it gives you confidence, right? It gives you confidence as it relates to we're 2-0 in overtime games thus far this season, correct? But also you look at it from the standpoint of last minute, last 2 minutes, or last 5 minutes where you may not have the lead. These are all things that we call situations. And these situations show up throughout the month of February, but also throughout the year, but more so throughout the month of February and March, because there's so much parity. Teams have peaked out. Teams are starting to know each other. There's no secrets. Our game last outing, there was no lead larger than 6 and 4 for both teams, right? That is going to become the norm as it relates to teams and trying to will themselves to victory. So it's all preparation and experience. And I think our guys have done a tremendous job of responding a certain way and showing their resolve, showing their perseverance, but also the level of communication when it comes down to execution and preparation.
Coach, going back to that Mississippi State game, it wasn't a great shooting night for you guys, and it seems like sometimes that's held the team back. How do you feel like you guys were able to overcome that on Tuesday?
I think the big picture is at this point in time, you have to be able to manufacture wins. And I thought our guys did not get discouraged big picture. And it was just that type of game because Mississippi State has done that tremendously throughout their year against any opponent. It doesn't matter who they've played. I think if you look at their stat sheet, they've done a great job defensively, as you know, analytically, but they will without a doubt put a lot of pressure on your team because they play a certain style. We have to just continue to dial in the things that we need to dial into to get better. But ultimately, I was impressed with our guys' ability to not get distracted and also get stops and whenever they needed them.
Dennis,
Coach,
do you
go
ahead?
Oh, Gabe, you can go ahead. Oh, all right. Well, thank you. Coach, regarding Trey Gamillion, how valuable is he to your team when he's not only being aggressive on the boards and on defense, but also scoring the ball like he was last game?
Yeah, all of our guys are important because they're a piece of the puzzle. Again, we hadn't played our very best. I'll consistently say that to you all. And hopefully that's a sign that we can play our very best as the season moves forward. Trey specifically is important because of his IQ and what he brings to the table. He has an ability that is very rare in college basketball. It was an ability that was very rare for coaches to evaluate that I was able to see when he had no scholarship offers to offer him his first and only scholarship. I saw this take place at every level that he's played in and also how he's impact winning. He is a guy that impacts winning. And when you can understand how important that is, it's not in the stat sheet. It's not even one that gives a lot of people the necessary eye to see it. I just thought with his addition, you get to see firsthand. If it was your first time watching basketball, you would say this guy is impacting the game in a positive way. If this was your millionth time watching the game, you will say the same sentence. And that's the consistency that he has and the impact that he has on the game, on his teammates. He was the main one be able, if you go back and watch the game, when we came out of the huddle after overtime, Kobe missed that layup. Kobe was down on himself. Trey Gamillion, with his awareness, was able to crack some joke that put a smile on Kobe Brown's face. That is impactful. That's impactful because now it may have erased whatever internally Kobe felt, but it was allowing us to galvanize and move forward.
Last question to Gabe.
Yeah, Dennis, do you anticipate being able to get Ronnie back still, or is is his season in question?
I anticipate getting all our guys back. All our guys back. No different than I have done so at the very beginning of the year. And you guys have definitely been kept in the loop with everything. Pre-game decisions are pre-game decisions. You can probably look now at the only pre-game decisions that we have is Ronnie and Isaiah. And we'll let you guys know that. But Trey is on the other side of his transition back, where I truly believe he's at close to full speed as much as you can be at this point in the season. But our roster was pieced together like that. What I'm satisfied with is the growth of Mabor Majak. And I think you guys could see the little impact that he has is a big thing and a big deal because of his size and length. The other thing is to have Aiden Shaw get a DMP, but also still make sure that he's in the rotation because he can impact winning is very important. Certain guys are at different phases of their career. He just happens to be at the early stages of what I still think will be a great, great career here at Mizzou. So it's all, pieces that we've put together strategically that'll help us.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.